And welcome to bexbugoutsurvivor, and I thought I would share with you what I've been using sleeping bag wise from a perspective of a cold sleeper. I'm going to show you some synthetic versions on this episode, and we'll get round to the smaller, lightweight, more compact down versions in a different episode. Right, a system is pretty much two bags. The difference for this one is not every system is got the same insulation, so I've mixed up the actual insulation with different types and it's worked well. Two bags of Climashield. Climashield is a continuous fibre filament. Very different from a short staple, which say is your Primaloft, which I'm not blown away by, but I'm quite happy with Climashield. And a filament is obviously just how it sounds, like a strand of hair. And if you chop that hair up into many different pieces and heat seal it all together, then you've got pretty much standard chopped staple. But this one is a continuous fibre. They've left the fibre whole. And so far it's worked, but it can be improved a lot by mixing different fibres. I think I'll keep the bigger one, but we're going to put a different liner in. Nighttime insulation is primary for me. It's the thing that matters the most, and I won't compromise on it at all. It takes up about 50% for me of the pack. So you address the pack to your sleep system. If you haven't got enough room in your pack for 50% nighttime insulation, get a big pack or rethink your insulation. This here is also Climashield. It's my spare. This one is medium, the other one was large. But the inside insulation is not Climashield. So this is the Buffalo inner bag, has this kind of pile fleece lining. Now this is a double bag system, so the Buffalo inner continuous fibre filament of the Fexka bag is the outside. This has a gortex lining, so it is meant to be windproof to a degree, or if you're in a tent or a bivvy, it doesn't matter. But the actual mix of the two completely different fibres is what's making this work the best for a cold sleeper. It goes without saying that I have the outer bag for this Buffalo, and it also has this fibre pile fleece lining. On their own, both are good, maybe 2-3 seasons. Mate them together, it's said to make a winter system. As a cold sleeper, I found probably almost to 0 freeze point Celsius. This Fexka here with the continuous fibre filament is said to be good to comfort -18. I find that hard to swallow on its own. For me, again, about freeze point on its own. So I've tested these in a tent or a bivvy. Okay, so I wasn't just under a tarp relying on this Pertex to keep the wind off. I was fully tented up. So I'm starting with my favourite and then working my way down. Usually I do it the other way around. This has been phenomenal. A Fexka outer bag you can get for about 25 quid, usually 70, so do shop around. Buffalo bag, I think the inner here was about 200, so for about 225 quid, shop around, you'll make it cheaper. This is phenomenal because it has a hooded section. -7 it got down to when I tested this, and boy, I was toasty. So this is a hood. This is what we call a fitted hood. It is like a hood on a jacket, as where the Fexka is not a fitted hood. It can be used as a hood. It's not what we call a fitted hood. And as you can see, this jacket here has a hood. Watch. It's not a hood, which is how the Corinthia and the Fexka bags work. All you're doing is pulling it up over your head, and it creates a massive void from the top of your head to your shoulders here on either side. That is where cold air is getting in and the warm air is escaping here. I'd rather just wear a wool hat and have it round the neck how it was intended. So I do prefer bags that have a dedicated built-in hood, not to be confused with a face port. And you can see the gap of air between my shoulders and the top of my head there. The more air you can trap and prevention of cold coming in is what keeps you warm. For a cold sleeper such as myself, I've worked out how much colder I'm sleeping, and it's about 20 Celsius below the rated bag. And I always like to allocate at least 50% of the volume of the bag just to keep warm at night. That's a double bag system gone into there. I know I'm going to be very warm, certainly below freeze point, and including the snow collar here and the floating lid of my pack, I have another 50% allocation just for clothing. Cook sets I put inside along with the food. The tent just sits under the floating lid. So we're going to be looking here at Old Faithful, the wool blanket, 2 meters 20 by 190, I believe. It's a nice size, and the outer insulation will be the Climashield continuous fibre filament. I'm going to do this one in the tent because it is cold. I should have put my vestibule in last night, but I didn't. Oh, it's freezing. I'm going to put a jumper on. So this is the size of the pack, including the lightweight summer bag, which I'm going to take out of this because I only need the outer. So let's separate all this. Separate the lighter jungle bag. We don't need that for this. And I'm going to use the wool blanket as the inner. I'm going to show you how I've modified it. This is my modified blanket, which I'm using as the inner. I've crudely stitched on some of this popper webbing. I guess I could use this as an inner or an outer. I've tried both work. I just like the wool on the inside. It's just perhaps personal preference. Now at this point it's obvious to say get this in a waterproof sack, but for speed of filming I'm just going to demonstrate like this. Of course, if I don't say get it in a waterproof sack, you'll always get a smart arse in the comments. I don't think that's too bad at all, and of course it can be condensed using a compression sack, or like I said, carry it in two different parts. That leaves the rest of the pack entirely empty. With this floating lid I could get the tent rolled up underneath. There's no problem there. There's lots of space, and with it being a frame pack, with the frame being external, it's not bad to carry at all. Can't wait to jump in. It's freezing. I don't need a lot of kit. I just need small amounts of the right kit. Oh, no idea, mate. No idea. This is lovely. The warmth with wool mixed with the continuous fibre filament comes instantly the minute you get in. It is so warm. Obviously there's a weight penalty to consider with this system. Is it worth it? It depends if you want a good night's sleep or not. Oh man, I could just sleep right now actually. You've no idea how cosy this is. Feet are so warm. It's worth it. There's not much volume once it's compressed in a compression bag with the Faxka. One size 10. It's nothing really. There are some people who can get away with bearskin sleeping just in a normal bag at its temperature rating. I'm not one of them. I've never been able to. I'm a very cold sleeper. I've got to have the extra insulation. But the extras like the wool or the pile fleece counters me having to wear extra layers inside the bag. So with these systems I can bear sleep. This is a pack I wanted to like a lot more for this particular bit of kit, but I'm really in two minds. This bag system, I'll show you this one out here. It's the buffalo outer, so it has the gortex shell, fitted hood with a face shield. This is the buffalo outer with the fibre pile fleece, and for its inner a completely different mix of insulation. This is down 850 to 900 fill power, was too much to fit in the outer bag. 750 fill power just right for that bag, which is in there waiting for the top quilt to go in. I've got a good air loft here at the foot box. You might see one or two feathers coming out as well. It's just the nature of having a quilt. So it does pay to give it a good shake before you get into it. Because I'm a cold sleeper, I'm relying on my body heat to warm the systems, and as a cold sleeper I don't always have that much body heat as compared to someone who sleeps a lot warmer. So now it's time to preheat the bag systems about 10 minutes before you're ready to jump in, and we'll do that now. It's a steel Nalgene. This is my hot water bottle for the night. I'm going to put some water in there and get this heated up. This is going down the bottom of my sleeping bag. Halfway is plenty. I won't need the entire hexie, I'll need a little bit. I'm going to turn it this way and put the spikes into the ground. Only because I'm using this cup here, which fits on there. It wouldn't fit the other way round. I want to let this cool, so I'm not going to put the cap on screw tight, just rest it on. One thing you do want to do is get into your clothing allocation and get one of your socks, because that is going to be hot. Let some air out. Just tight enough so it won't leak. Sock on. I put mine right down into the toe box, get it all zipped up. Now the secret to this is to roll all the system up like this. Once I've rolled it up, it will radiate the heat from the inside to the outside layers. And for the purists among you, I'm completely naked. Okay, and for them purists, there is a rumour going round, and there has been for years, that bare skin sleeping is warmer than having clothes on, and that has not been proved to be true. Scientists have researched it in laboratories who test sleeping bags, and there's an EN rating now that is electronically tested, so the manufacturers can't claim a bag is a certain temperature rating when it's not, and they've always gotten away with that in the past. I personally don't bare skin sleep, even with better systems like this. I prefer fleece jog pants and fleece norgie, but each to their own. It really is not a one size fits all world. Not everyone sleeps at the same temperature. Not everyone has the same body mechanics. Some people, like my late father, could sleep in winter under a tea towel, and that always annoyed me, because I'd be about 5, maybe 6 years old in my sleeping bag shivering, and he'd be putting his coat over me and my coat over me, and it just shows not everyone has the same body mechanics. So just because perhaps you can sleep at the bag temperature rating, it doesn't mean everyone can. Oh, feet are so warm. Got that bottle down the bottom. Not only should you wear base layers, a nice pair of loose fitting wool socks or warm socks, keep your hat on, and I find a scarf as well, but this is the lightest and most compact of all the systems, and after I've had a snooze we're going to weigh these off. I've even got my pillow in my hood. Oh, lovely. Oh. Oh. Still filming, red light still on. Fell asleep with that on. Well, it's a much better day to be doing the weigh off. Very bright. So the top quilt and buffalo was carried in the Osprey. So the weight of the system will include the dry bag, which I'll deduct at the end. 2.1 kilos, and that was being transported in the Osprey Ether 60 Fexka medium weight Arctic bag with the wool blanket, and that was transported in the Royal Marines Arctic Bergen. That's 4.3. That's lighter than I thought it would be. Size regular Fexka bag with the buffalo inner. Transported in Berghaus Crusader 90. .3 kilos. That was lighter than I thought it was going to be. I'm one of the best, and it's pretty compact. I'm chuffed with that.